All right, in Act 1, Scene 4, we meet Mercutio, Romeo's good friend and a relation of the prince's. The scene opens with Romeo and Mercutio and Benvolio dressed up in mask. In other words, they are dressed to go to a masquerade party. There's another group of people with them, but they don't have any lines, so we're just not going to worry about them. The whole group is in really good humor, but Romeo is a little bit apprehensive about going to the party. He wonders what excuse they're going to use to get in, as they are of the House of Montague, with the exception of Mercutio. Remember, he was invited. Benvolio comforts his cousin by saying that they will just go in, dance, and hang out for a little bit, and then be gone. Romeo then gets all lame again and says his soul is too heavy to dance. Remember, he's still lovesick for Rosaline. Mercutio will not allow Romeo to be so pathetic, though, and he begins poking fun at him, and to get him out of his buzzkill mood, he makes some dirty jokes. He gives Romeo some advice on love, which isn't exactly eloquent, we'll say. But then he delivers his famous monologue about Queen Mab. Now, before we talk about that, I'm going to just say most English teachers will tell you that Queen Mab is Queen of the Fairies, and they'll leave it at that. But the legend of Queen Mab is mostly non-existent. Although Queen Mab may be a Celtic allusion, she is more likely from Shakespeare's imagination. At the time, Queen, spelled Quean, meant whore, and Mab was a slang word for a prostitute. Whatever is actually meant by Queen Mab, nobody can say for sure, but in any case, Mercutio delivers a lengthy monologue about how Queen Mab visits people in their sleep and helps them dream of things that they like, and how she also causes mischief in the night. He goes on until Romeo finally cuts him off just before Mercutio can say something that is totally inappropriate and disgusting. They head toward the party, but before they do so, Romeo says, "My mind misgives some consequence yet hanging in the stars shall bitterly begin his fearful date with this night's revels, and expire the term of a despised life closed in my breast by some vile forfeit of untimely death." In other words, I've got a really bad feeling about this. Tonight may lead to somebody's death. Hint, hint, it's going to be his. This is an example of dramatic irony. Audiences in Shakespeare's day would already know the outcome, because not only did the prologue state exactly what was going to happen to Romeo and Juliet, but the story of Romeo and Juliet wasn't an original to Shakespeare. The tale existed long before Shakespeare was even born. He was the one who just wrote it down. Kind of like how Disney made the movies Cinderella and Pocahontas. Those were stories that existed, but they just put them to paper, or film, as it were. Romeo decides to leave it all up to God in the end, and they all head to the party. Now remember, with that dramatic irony, just want to define that one last time for you. Dramatic irony is where the audience knows something that the characters in the play do not. So keep that in mind. What is it that we know that Romeo, that poor fool, doesn't quite yet?